You're welcome to Encounter Sermon. Stay blessed as you watch.
Because if I show you the colonial masters, I will also show you the human agents that they work with. Because the human agents are also in cadres. We are not all the same. You will make a great mistake to think we are all the same. In salvation, same price was paid for us. But in kingdom, we are separated into cadres, depending on the degree of our productivity and effectiveness through participation with spirits. He said, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. You know, these words here are strange words. The word power and the word might here is kratos and ischus. These are different dimensions of power. There is a power for witness, dunamis. There is a power to deal with demons. You know, demons don't have legality. They possess people. So you can come with exousia. In the name of Jesus, get out. And the demons will obey. Because you will also discover that in the structure of the spirit realm, exousia is a prince. It's not just a reality. So when you come by exousia, you are operating at a higher rank. Demons obey you. That's why you say in the name of Jesus, go. He brought you to a place. Because Jesus occupied all the cadres of authority in the spirit. So when he gave us the right to represent him, he brought us to a level in princely power. So when we speak, demons go. But Paul is telling us that if it has to do with cities, there are no demons to cast out. You are only dealing with princes. These are fallen angels. They have their own bodies. They didn't possess anybody. Fallen angels don't possess people. Fallen angels come to conquer territories, to build civilization, because they too desire worship. They want to be worshipped the way God is worshipped. So Paul said, if you are coming into the arena of territorial and city building, he said what? Be strong in the Lord and in the kratos of his ischus. Kratos is a dimension of power that you build into through consistency in your work with God. So you become volatile. It's a dynamic power. You know, dunamis is a power, it's from dynamo. It's what works in the generator. But you see, when this light comes on, this one is no longer dunamis. This one is kratos. If you touch this one, it will shock you. It will kill you. So when you have been activated, you have become kratos. And the word ischus is synergy. It's a power of synergy. That means in addition to what you carry, you must also learn to participate with some of the functionaries in that territory also. Because there are angels that territories are allocated to. So you need to also understand who is the spiritual prince in light that is also sent to defend this territory. Because this one now is a business of litigation and legislation. And so Paul said, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might. And he now said, put on the whole armor of God, that you will be able to stand all the wiles of the devil, the manipulation, the intelligence, the tantrums. Because the idea is to make you shift ground so that you become an agent. He said you will need to be girded with all of the armor of God to be able to stand as a city builder. And he said, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood. This is not just about human civilization. Forget all the things men are doing. He said, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness in heavenly places. If you check those words in the spirit, the word principality is the word alke. Alke is a prince in the spirit. Because when you study the ranking of the spirit realm, both in light and darkness, you will find principalities. That means it's an office that princes occupy. Colossians chapter 1 verse 15, you will see this same structure in light. The Bible said concerning Jesus, open it, so that you know what we are saying here has a parallel dimension in darkness. These are fallen angels. Some principalities fell. The activities they were carrying out for God, they are also carrying it out now in darkness. He said, who is the image of the invincible God? Speaking about Jesus, firstborn of every creature. Go down. He said, for by him are all things created that are in heaven, that are in the earth, visible and invisible. Whether they be what? Thrones, dominions, principalities, powers. So you see that even in light, there are principalities. In fact, the structure in light is that you have powers. This is exousia. That's the lowest level of princes. This is why every believer who is born again, God gives him the right to use exousia. It's the lowest level of princes. But there is principalities. You can't use exousia to fight principalities. We are seated with Christ in heavenly places, far above principalities and powers. So he began to shift us. He began to shift us. So he moved us to principalities. He moved us to dominion. He moved us to thrones. Are you seeing what Jesus did? He first of all gave you the right to become the sons of God, which is exousia. Then he now moved you to thrones, because Jesus expects you that a day will come where you will join hands with him to build cities. This is why we can participate. The reason we are wrestling is because now the authority we have in the second Adam transcends into the heavens. You know, when God gave Adam authority in Genesis 1, he gave him authority over the birds of the air, the fishes in the water, and everything that creepeth on the earth. He didn't have authority in the spirit. But when Jesus came, the first authority he gave us was exousia. He wanted us to become princes, because now we will not just be saved, we will participate with God to build cities. And he didn't just give us exousia. He now took us to the level of throne, so we sit with him in heavenly places. But Paul is telling us to function in that place, we must be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, because we are going to contend beings that have such ranking in the spirit. And so he began to show us that in the demonic realm, you have what? Principalities. A principality is a prince that does not have a territory. But his duty is that he is the one who is sent first. That's why the word is alke. Alke means first in rank. So when a principality, when devils want to take over territories, what they do is that they send the principalities ahead. They are the ones who have the intelligence to map out cities. And so when they come into South Africa, they will survey the land. Survey the land. What is the ambition of these people? In China, the ambition was to build a name for themselves. But now, this territory will find the people. What is their ambition? And they begin to profile their ambitions. When they find the ambitions of the people, they also begin to profile the giftings that the people have. Because Satan has no gift to give, but he knows how to manipulate gifted people. And so when he checked, oh, there are prophets here. He went to West Africa, he met teachers and apostles. But he came to South Africa, he met prophets. He met intercessors. He said, okay, these ones are open to the spirit realm. Now, because they are open to the spirit realm, their emotional threshold will be high. So what do? Let me enter the gates of their emotion. And then what does he do? He begins to create administrative structures that will facilitate emotion. And so he manipulates women dressed naked, so that when the men see you, they can't contain themselves. And by doing that, what he will do is that he will recruit those who are supposed to be prophets, who should pick signals for God and speak over territories. Their job now is that when they look at women, they know what to tell them for their heart to melt. And so you see one brother, he has 4 girlfriends. He can manage all of them successfully. And no one will know that something is happening. And he thinks he's a wise man. What he doesn't know is that his gift has been perverted. And I'm not. Oh. You don't know why I'm not talking about people on the streets. I'm talking about even people with collar. Oh, when he looks at the choir, he selects some kind of girls to be in choir. It's not about singing. He has weighed them. The moment he saw them, he know that this one loves phone. He know that this one loves sweet stories. He's just looking at them and prophetically discerning them. Because the gift of prophecy has become divination. So he knows the one that needs gift. He can just give her a phone and her heart has opened. And he looks at the other one. He just comments her dress. She has opened. After 6 months, he's sleeping with 3 people in the choir. And when he comes here, he will tell them, you know, righteousness is God's nature. It doesn't matter what you do. So he's balancing their conscience by telling them, if you have God's nature, you are righteous. It doesn't matter what you do. So that they will now not feel bad that pastor is sleeping with them. And so the guy who should be a prophet, who should speak the next dispensation of South Africa, he can no longer see from the realm of light, because he didn't know that he came here to build cities. He didn't know that the reason Jesus moved him from exousia to throne is so that the South Africa in the spirit will be built. Because every physical Egypt has a spiritual Egypt. And so every physical South Africa has a spiritual South Africa. But there are colonial masters around. They know the recruitment. When the colonial masters succeed in recruiting and set up the activity, then the powers come. Paul said we wrestle not against principalities and powers. The duty of the power is that they bind you, because they are called authorities. Now that you have violated the law of the spirit realm, you can't move anymore, because we know the law. The law says whoever you yield yourself servant to obey, he said the servant of him you are whom you have obeyed. So suddenly the guy who began with 1-2 ladies, he can't stop anymore. The day he tries to stop, he now discovers that a chain has been put on him. He has become a servant, prophet, but operating in divination, because he has been arrested. You see others, their work is lying. They don't even know why they lie, because the spirit perceive. He said they have ego. They have ego, and they won't go through process. They want to cut corners, so he gives them quick success. Oh, take some invitation, take some money, and the guy now has some money, so he thinks his status has changed. And because he wants to sustain that status, he will need to lie to people. He can show up and say, oh, an angel is here. Because the angel is here. I'm hearing, if you give 1 million rand now, you will go to the next level. And he used the one testimony that happened that week as the basis to collect 1 million rand. And when he collects it, the next thing he's sustaining his ego, so that when he shows up, you know he's a man that has been helped. And so they pamper that ego using the vehicle of lie. And everybody that are under him, he's baptizing them. Because Paul said, in as much as we love you, we have not just taught you the gospel, we have imparted you the substance of our soul. Now, he now becomes a recruiting agent. The innocent guy that gave his life to Christ, that came to church yesterday, does not know why he's not struggling with lust. He's under a radar. He's under a radar. It is transmission. He doesn't know why he can't stop lying. It's a radar. It's a radar. A principality is working. And when the principality finish, the powers come. The powers are called the exousias of the spiritual realm. Their job is to bind you. You can never go back. You can never find your way back. And when the powers finish their work, then the Bible said the rulers of the darkness of this world. The world is cosmos kratos. That's where rebuilding begins from. The job of the ruler is that thing that was a practice will become a culture. They make sure that it transcends from one generation to another. They make sure that thing that began with one man becomes a company. And so after a while, the guy was doing it successfully. But in the next 10 years, there are 30 of them who are doing it. There are 50 of them who are doing it. And you are wondering, what is going on? Rulers are at work. They make this thing become culture and way of life. And a point will come when you come into that territory. If they tell you it's not, this thing will not happen, you think it's not possible. There are most of you now, if I tell you somebody is a virgin at 30, you say it's a lie. Because rulers have done some things to make you feel that it's impossible to live chaste. It's impossible. All the 10 friends you have, all of them are disflowered. And so now, instead of struggling, you submit willingly. Because this thing is the way of life here. This is how people succeed. In fact, they will make you think that for you to succeed, you must do it. Have you not entered some systems? You entered the bank. You came with zeal. You thought marketing. What about skill? And then they advise you that the last 3 persons that wanted to use skill here were fired after 3 years. The only way up is to sleep with the boss. And then you asked 1, you asked 2, you asked 3, and they said, so that's how it happens here. When you turn back, the hardship you will see, you know if you go there, you will rot. And so you'll be in between the devil and the deep blue sea. If you refuse, you will be poor. You will suffer. You have food to eat. And if you must rise, you must submit. And so you find out, because kingdom has not been taught, they will refuse to embrace suffering and trust God to lead them. And they will now compromise. Because we don't have architects that build cities anymore. And so you find many people compromise in order to succeed in life. And they think it's about promotion. When you're now promoted, you discover that your nature has been altered. You can no longer serve God. Your passion for prayer dies. Your fear for God dies. And you are looking for a revival service. Who will set me on fire? You have been denatured. See, one of the reasons conferences like this are important is because programs, negative programs will be altered. Fires will be kindled. I'm showing you the structure of the spirit realm. This thing happens in real estate. It happens in banks. It happens in government. There are many young people from campus days. They have a burden that they will see the new South Africa. And then when they graduated, they wanted to go in. Then they now invite them and say, here, you must first of all be initiated into a court. We want to be sure that when you are big, you won't break, you won't be disloyal. How does court come into? I thought it's about politics. I thought it's about rules of leadership. I thought it was about having a heart for your people. I thought it was about being visionary. They now tell you, there are many people who have visions. What we are looking for are not visionary people. We are looking for loyal men. And if you say it's a lie, you will move in one cycle for 35 years. You will see your friends that came yesterday will become senators. You will see your friends that came yesterday become masters, leaders of provinces. And then when you stand to give a manifesto, you are 10 times better than them. But you are wondering, how did they rise? They rose because they submitted to the structure that the rulers have put in place. If you will compromise, you must be sworn into that court. And you will not just be sworn, you will pay allegiance for 10 years. And the way you pay allegiance is to serve those who are ahead of you. And service is not, write this document for me. On Friday, if they are in a club, you will also be there. Because that's how you serve them. And so you discover that you are in a club for 6 months. A point came, the valve of your soul will break. You know, when Lot was in Sodom and Gomorrah, the Bible says his righteous soul was vexed. You will be vexed the first 3 weeks you were in the court. After 2 months, when they are playing a music that you heard for 2 months, you'll discover that it has altered the vibration of your soul. And then you'll sit there and you'll be doing like this. You'll be doing like this. After a while, your boss will look at you and say, come on, you're a weak man. He will now tell the lady, go and stay with you. And the lady will come and be nice, sit with you, talk with you. After a while, you will share a bottle, a glass of alcohol. The next day, you will wake up. You slept with the lady. You will cry. You will cry. But after 2 weeks, when your tears dry, you are back there. Because you are an apprentice. This is how you will rise in politics. There's nothing. If you don't, you won't rise. Your boss tells you, now you are traveling with me. It's supposed to be favor. You are learning. But when you travel, he carries 3 ladies, you carry 1. Because he will make sure you do it so that you will never come to a point where you expose him. You too must become a culprit. So that both of you, if he falls, he will fall. So everything he does in darkness, you must do the same. And so you will now discover that to rise in politics, you must be baptized with iniquity. And so the day you become a president, even if you try to change your mind, you have been reprogrammed. It's too difficult. You can't. If you try, you can't. The fear of God has died. The things of the spirit no longer make sense to you. And then you now start trying for your children to live right. But you discover that your DNA was altered before you gave birth. So your children now who need a mentor, they now have it inside their DNA. They were bettered by a mutated DNA. And so your son at the age of 10 can drink a bottle of champagne. He can take a glass of dry gin of the people. And so for you to break out of this regime, you must look to him that dwells in the coals of fire. He's the only one that has the power to alter your nature. He's the only one that has the power to bring you out of this web of darkness. This is why if you can't look on Jesus, he can't walk. You know, people who are not educated, when you talk to them about building city, they say, forget all this prayer. Church, we just come and be talking prayer. We are the salt of the earth. We are the light of the world. What we are dealing with is deeper than the buildings you are seeing. They are colonial masters in the spirit realm. When the rulers finish their work, then spiritual wickedness in heavenly places they are called poneria. Their job is to afflict people. And so now that we have built this structure to this realm, let's afflict this nation with corruption. Anybody who comes into power must be corrupt. What he will desire is to loot the wealth of the nation. There's nothing he can do about it. And when he does it for a while, we will kill him, either with women, or we will kill him with a coup, or we will do something will happen. His life will be wasted. Their job is to bring judgment so that a system is preserved. Every family that is doing well, we will plant something, either madness, or autism, or sudden death, or bachelorhood, spinsterhood. They will be 30, 40, they will marry. They just put things here and there, so that everybody, no matter how well he's doing, will have a yoke that he will carry. And because of that yoke, there will be need for consistent compromise. You will never survive without compromise. This is how these structures are built. And as they are building this structure, they are also training human agents. Because when you enter a civilization, you will discover that even among men, there are ranking people. All the people they find, they separate them into their cadre of gifts, and they make them agents. Agents are puppets that spirits use. So when they come into a territory and they discover the men there love dark ladies, they will put pressure, sexual pressure on these dark ladies and frustrate their lives so much that everywhere they turn, they won't find help until they submit to prostitution. And so from campus, they're already sleeping around to buy handouts. All their uncles will forget them. No matter how they beg, the only thing they will resort to is to use their bodies. It's a program so that the men can find them and have free access. It's intelligence. When they discover that in this territory, anybody who is intelligent has a high potential of becoming great, before he rises, they will put an affliction on his life. And so you are wondering, why are the best never serving God? Because a system was designed. Agents are puppets. One way or the other, you must facilitate the agenda. But for those who are specially gifted, they now give them higher position. They are either witches or wizards. The job of a witch is to cast spells. And those spells have the power to alter events, to alter happenings in the territory. And so every territory, before demons walk, casters of spells will be there first. And so they will show up and chant and cast spells and choke atmospheres. And then you are wondering why, when you relocated to this particular place, this kind of thing began to happen. What is going on? There are people who manage the atmospheres there. They are witches and they are wizards. And when you grow, you become a warlock. A warlock is one who does not have any sympathy for man again. He has betrayed men, completely sold out to darkness. And he can do any act of wickedness. They are the ones that truly form the foundation of spiritual cities in collaboration with princes. Some of you have watched movies before. You know that most of the ancient cities you find today had warlocks that pioneered the agenda of darkness into those lands. And they put it as signature in the foundation of those cities. If you enter there and you don't rise above it, you can never serve God. And when you grow from a warlock, you become a sage. A sage is a teacher. He has the power to impart spiritual graces. It's not only in light that they do impartation. Even in darkness, a sage can say, hold my hand. Go and cut a blade of grass, bring it. When you bring it, you hold your hand, say, go. If anybody is beaten by scorpion, touch that place 3 times. The venom will go. And you are wondering, is it true? Somebody is beaten by scorpion, you tap the person, the venom will go. And you are wondering, he can impart demonic power. This one now is a custodian in darkness. So while principalities, powers, rulers are working, they are also raising human agents from puppets that do their will. You know, some of you young men here, you Babylon game. I'm not saying everybody. I'm just saying the trend, the one that is a trend. And when you see ladies, you are doing like this. You don't know you are an agent. You don't know. See, look good though, I have beards. But I'm saying there's a trend now where people showcase things. You don't know. These intelligence are deep. It's not only naked women. You don't know. You see some men, they remove 5 of their buttons until their chest open to this place. They literally don't wear singlet. While they were in the gym, you will think, oh, they are exercising. Gym has good health value. They don't care about health. It's not a oh. Listen, there's nothing wrong in looking good. Don't get me wrong. And there are many benefits. You can toughen your muscles. You can facilitate the movement of blood. Your arteries, your veins open. Cholesterol, is burnt out. For healthiness, for good look. It's good. Look good. It's good. I'm not looking too bad. but what I'm saying is that if those things you built becomes a channel that demons ride through. Now you went to gym, you have 6-pack. You have 4-pack. And 7 ladies have lost their virginity. And you don't know what is going on. You are an agent. You are a puppet. So when they come around, they remove their shirt, put it on their neck, and they are walking around. Because they know that the ladies in the environment are weak when they look at them. And so the reason they sweated hours in the gym is to become appealing. so that an agenda can be facilitated. Meanwhile, those ladies that they disflowered will go and destroy 7 families. And so before you know what's happening, a cycle of wickedness has been created. It began from something that looks as if there's no harm, something that is even good, medically speaking, but there's an intelligence. This is why the wise men must rise to manage the gates so that the sanity of a territory is kept. Some ladies go to gym now. It's not even about health. It's to reshape themselves so that they can dress with tight things to seduce married men or pastors. They don't even care about young men because it's not marriage they are looking for. They say married men care for them better. They are more mature. They are more reasonable. And so you see her squatting in the gym. She's trying to build different shape so that she can dress skimpy. And you don't know that intelligence were weaved into it. And you come into a territory, everywhere is perverted. So when the Bible told us, looking unto Jesus, that's the only cure. That's the only cure. The only cure. So that the portrait of God is presented to a generation. Those who are denatured, when they see him, there is a power that he has. He can begin to alter them. Those who are lost, there's a power. That's why I showed you the 5 effects of looking at Jesus. I said number 1 is what? He can save you to the uttermost. The evil, the wickedness that have been planted in your heart is deep. But when you see Jesus, he can go deep to excavate it. He can bring you the light of his countenance, and that thing that Satan sowed into you, some even through your DNA, Jesus can excavate it and give birth to a new man. That's why I say, whoever is in Christ Jesus is a new creation. He said, all things are passed away. All things have become new. He has the power to create a new man. It doesn't matter the level of damage Satan has done. Jesus can change your appetites. Jesus can change your desires. Jesus can alter your DNA. He has that power. But the key is to look upon him. Look upon him. Looking unto Jesus. That your mind that is gifted with the wisdom of leadership that can lead South Africa to the next dispensation. But that wisdom now is to loot people and to become a fraudster. Jesus can alter it so that you can enter leadership again. When you look unto him, he has the power to cause you to conform. To conform. To conform. The Bible says we all with unveiled faces, beholding as in a glass the glory of the Lord, we are changed. Every one of us must gaze at him because there's something about us that has been tampered with. For some of us, salvation is not there. For some of us, we are saved, but there are infirmities. And so when Jesus presents his dimension, he's giving you an opportunity to become like him. And when you become like him, you can fulfill your destiny and ordination. Either as a businessman with integrity, or as a leader with vision and heart for your people, or as a minister with the spirit of righteousness, and the city can be rebuilt so that the new Jerusalem can begin to appear even before the end of time. This is the hope of territories. If we allow only what is working out in darkness, our generation can be lost. Because the way they do this thing is that they do it for every generation. When a generation passes, they come back and start another project. When a generation passes, they come back and start another project. If we will safeguard our generation and preserve it for the next as a heritage, then those who behold Christ must be born.
I believe you have been blessed by this message from God's servant, Apostle Micheal Orokpo. Please do what to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell. Thank you.